Imagine a marketplace where anything,
And I mean anything, can be bought and sold. Drugs, weapons, fake IDs, even hacking tools. No face-to-face interaction, no real money exchanged, just a simple click on your computer screen. A marketplace so secretive that even the government couldn't track it. Welcome to Silk Road, a platform that operated in the shadows of the dark web, where anything could be purchased anonymously, until one day, everything came crashing down. But how did a single website, hidden behind layers of encryption, become one of the most infamous black markets in history? And what led to its dramatic fall? This is the story of the rise and fall of Silk Road, where one man's idea of digital freedom led him down a dangerous path and brought the full force of the law on his shoulders. In the early 2000s, the internet began to change in ways that most people never realized. Hidden from the mainstream, there was a corner of the web where anonymity was not just encouraged, it was essential. This dark part of the internet was called the dark web, and it could only be accessed through special software like Tor. Tor allowed users to browse the web without revealing their identity, offering a level of privacy that attracted everyone from privacy-conscious individuals to criminals. It was in this shadowy realm that a young man from Texas, Ross Ulbricht, saw an opportunity. He believed in the idea of a free market where individuals could trade goods without government interference. And so, in 2011, he launched Silk Road, an online marketplace built entirely on anonymity, where buyers and sellers could exchange anything without ever leaving a trace. Ulbricht, using the alias Dread Pirate Roberts, designed Silk Road with a mission in mind: to create a platform for those who wanted to engage in transactions outside of government control. But what started as a revolutionary idea for some quickly spiraled into a massive criminal empire. At its peak, Silk Road had over 1 million users, with 10,000 plus listings on the marketplace, everything from illegal drugs to counterfeit currencies. What made Silk Road unique was its currency, Bitcoin. Unlike traditional money, Bitcoin transactions could not be traced, which made it the perfect form of payment for the dark web. Silk Road was more than just a website. It was an entire ecosystem built around a vision: the freedom to trade without the constraints of law or government oversight. Ulbricht believed that people had the right to buy and sell whatever they wanted, free from the judgment of society. And so the marketplace flourished. But as Silk Road grew, so did its reputation. The platform quickly became the go-to marketplace for those looking to buy illegal items, drugs, weapons, stolen credit card numbers. They were all available with a simple click. The anonymity of the site made it nearly impossible for anyone to trace who was selling or buying these goods. By 2012, Silk Road had become a billion-dollar business, with Ulbricht raking in millions. The demand for illegal products was so high that criminals from around the world started using the platform to expand their operations. It wasn't just the low-level drug dealers anymore. Silk Road had become a global underground marketplace. But while Ulbricht was busy building his empire, a quiet war was happening behind the scenes. Law enforcement agencies from the FBI to the DEA were already aware of Silk Road. They just didn't know who was running it or how to bring it down. The authorities were getting desperate. Silk Road wasn't just selling illegal items, it was undermining the entire global system. The government wanted to shut it down, but they couldn't catch the shadowy figure behind it. Every time they got close, Ulbricht was always one step ahead. That is, until the FBI finally found a way in. But it wasn't just their investigation that led to his downfall. It was the human flaw that always seems to trip up even the most careful criminals. On October 1st, 2013, the FBI finally got the break they needed. After years of investigation, they traced Ulbricht's identity and shut down Silk Road. But it wasn't just the takedown that shocked the world. It was the way it happened. That morning, as Ross Ulbricht sat at a public library in San Francisco working on his laptop, he had no idea his empire was about to collapse. The authorities had been tracking him for months, and they were ready. The sound of the library door opening was the last thing he heard before he was arrested. Ulbricht's arrest was a public spectacle. The authorities knew that catching him was going to be big. They had finally nabbed the man who had created the most infamous marketplace in modern history. The FBI's success came not only from their investigation, but from a series of slips and Ulbricht's own arrogance. His obsession with maintaining control over the platform led him to make mistakes. He made one fatal error. He believed his identity would never be traced. It was a tragic irony. The very freedom Ulbricht believed he was creating came with a price, one he had never anticipated.
After his arrest,
Ross Ulbricht's world came crashing down. The trial that followed was a media spectacle. The case drew attention worldwide, not just because of the illegal nature of Silk Road, but because of the philosophical question it raised. Was Ulbricht an entrepreneur or a criminal mastermind? In 2015, Ross was convicted on 7 charges, including money laundering, hacking, and drug trafficking, and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Ulbricht's sentencing sparked outrage in some circles, with supporters arguing that his vision of a free marketplace was misinterpreted. However, for many, his actions represented the darker side of the internet, where anonymity can shield criminals from the law. But even after Silk Road was shut down, the damage had already been done. Silk Road's legacy persisted, and in its wake, many other marketplaces emerged, carrying on where Silk Road left off. The dark web had forever changed the way illegal commerce operated online.
so what can we learn from the rise and fall of Silk Road?
Was Ross Ulbricht just a visionary with a flawed idea, or was he a criminal who thought he could outsmart the system? Silk Road wasn't just a website, it was a digital revolution, one that raised serious questions about freedom, privacy, and government control in the digital age. But as we saw, even the best ideas can go too far. The story of Silk Road serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of the digital age, the choices we make, and the consequences that follow when freedom and law collide. So what's your take? Do you think Silk Road was simply ahead of its time, or was it a criminal enterprise that got what it deserved? Let us know in the comments.